Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Horror Himbo Podcast. I'm Avery, your local horror himbo, and I live in a constant state of dread. Today we are reviewing, I don't know who he is, and I don't know why a car alarm is going off outside. Today I am reviewing Nope 2022 from Jordan Peele, and holy shit, this is going to be a long episode because I loved this movie and I'm prepared to talk about it until I die. Well, I'm going to do a spoiler-free section and then talk about the previews I saw before the movie, and then I will get into spoilers, give people a chance to, see if they want to see it if they haven't seen it yet, and please, God, go see it. Please learn nothing about this movie and then go see it. Please. It is fucking phenomenal. It is. Honestly, I'm ready to get a tattoo for it right now. Ink me up, baby. Let's go. And then I'm going to talk about the previews. I guess give my opinion on upcoming movies if anyone gives a shit. But again, just giving people a chance to skedaddle and hear my wonderful voice, which you can tell is probably starting to go, which sucks because I have to record 5 more episodes in this sitting. So, great. It was amazing. Cinematography. What we've come to expect from Jordan Peele. I've heard people worried that he was going to make 2 phenomenal movies and then, crap out after that, but no way, no how. I knew my man Peele would pull through. With Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Stephen Yeun, and, oh lord howdy, I forgot his name, Brandon Pereira? Sorry, bestie, if that is not how I pronounce your name. I know it probably isn't, because he is not a white person, and names are hard for me, even if you are hello, my name is Mike Smith, I'll find a way to fuck it up. Don't worry. Cinematography, music, everything. I consider myself a hardened veteran of the horror genre, and this movie scared the shit out of me. There were 3 distinct scenes, and I'm sure everyone who's seen it knows what scenes I'm talking about, that filled me with dread, and a sense of dread that continued throughout the movie and made it. Obviously, I wasn't going to get up and fucking leave, but it made it compelling to keep watching, made me worry about the characters, made me worried about myself even. I was nervous afterward, which again is something that has not been done since, I think, Hereditary, for me personally. And something else that happened was I had a nightmare about the movie, which hasn't happened since Hostel when I was 15 years old. So, huge fucking props, Mr. Jordan Peele, sir, and everyone else involved. I'm probably going to bring up his name a lot because, he's the biggest name attached to it, but I do like to try to give credit to the rest of the crew, because it wasn't just Jordan Peele and his actors, obviously. It was a huge whole mess of people, as it is always with movies, that made this beautiful beast of a film. I will probably Google names like music and cinematography mid-episode. This isn't going to be too edited, but then again, what fucking episode of my show is edited? There are certain phobias. I try to warn this to all my real life and online friends. If they are thinking about seeing it, there is fairly specific phobias that this movie taps into. Every human has it on some level, but I know some people, it will really wig them out. So I beg of you, if you have very specific phobias, try to find some sort of spoiler-free trigger warning. I've seen, I think on Tumblr someone put a guide of when to step out of the theater and set a timer for a certain amount of time and then go back in if you are affected by a certain scene. But it is nothing that is like common phobias that I would warn people about, or common triggers like abuse or anything. It is just a very specific phobia that could be very triggering for people who have like panic attacks as a result of it. I'm going to get into the stuff beforehand. I'm not going to talk much about the movie without jumping into the spoiler section, because again, I recommend probably don't even watch the trailer, just go see this movie. It is phenomenal. I know I am, if you know me in real life, I am a person that hypes things up a lot. I'm a person that gets very excited. I hype up things that are not very good or are just okay, but trust me when I say this movie goes hard. Alright, I came in, like, at the end of a trailer for something called Woman King. Looked interesting. I think it was a historical movie, and I'm not very interested in those. Something from the producer of It and the executive producer of The Grudge and The Ring, Barbarian. It looked like a horror movie about an Airbnb. No fucking thank you. People tell me to watch, like, You on Netflix, or movies that have, like, realistic horror. For the most part, I do not enjoy those because they are too realistic. No thank you. No date was given. There is a movie called Till, about Emmett Till's mother. I almost cried just watching the trailer. I may go see it just so, it gets that boost in revenue, because it seems like a well-made film, but I do not like emotional movies like that will make me cry, and although it is an important part of history, I do not enjoy historical movies. For some reason, realistic movies put me to sleep or make me cry. A movie called Smile, about an entity that makes people smile and die, I guess. It looks like the fucking Truth or Dare face that looked like an awful Snapchat filter. I do not have high expectations for that. I don't believe there was a date given. There was a very good jump scare with, like, a woman approaching the car, and then you can't see her head, and the person in the car turns, and all of a sudden the woman's neck, like, spins around. That was pretty good. But other than that, it looks like, that genre of, very specific genre of horror movie. It's, like, Countdown, it's Bye Bye Man, it's Truth or Dare. You know what I'm talking about. That it seems like that, and that is shitty to me. I don't enjoy those. They are the same every time, and they are getting fucking boring. Maybe this will, if I see good reviews, I will see it, but I am not wasting my well-earned money seeing another fucking Truth or Dare movie. God in heaven. Another trailer for that Florence Pugh and Harry Styles movie, Don't Worry Darling, looks really good. I am a huge fan of Florence Pugh, and my sister is a huge fan of Harry Styles, so I will probably be seeing it. Look forward to a review on it. And then I got a trailer. I was so confused. I was like, a PG movie? Steven Spielberg? They're just showing Jaws in 3D and IMAX on Labor Day weekend. I liked the Get Back into the Water tagline, but I think it was probably used for the second movie. Sure, I enjoy old classics being put back on screen, but I for a second thought Steven Spielberg had made another movie that I just didn't hear about. There was a movie set in Africa, had pretty good music. It was a horror movie about lions and people called Beast. And it was like this dad and his two daughters and their like tour guide, I guess, and the dad like punched a lion in the face. I probably won't see that. It doesn't look like anything too special unless I hear something like phenomenal about it. If it turns out to be worth it, I'll go see it, but no thanks. I got fucking kerpranked by this stupid theater. AMC, I love you to death, but it showed like please silence your cell phones, and then that woman who gets, like, really horny about movies in that shiny suit. And I was like, oh, it's the actual movie. And then it was, like, a countdown and, like, shots of stars in the sun. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, yeah, this is the start of Jordan Peele's movie. It said, like, 11 months, 24 days, 15 minutes, something seconds. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, all right, well, what's happening here? But then it was just a trailer for another movie that showed after the, like, please silence your cell phones thing. Oppenheimer? What the fuck? That was, like, the meanest prank that has ever been pulled on me. Fuck you, Oppenheimer. I don't know, maybe you're a good movie, but fuck you. Ooh, so we open with, like, there's, like, the sound of, like, a sitcom playing over, the Universal and other logos, and again, this audio keeps playing over. I'm going to really fast Google what the quote is. It is, like, Nahum 3:6. I will pelt you with filth. I will treat you with contempt and make you a spectacle. That's pretty important. Jordan Peele. I'm not going to call him by his first name. I don't know him personally. I almost did. Back at it again with that cool thing on the opening. I don't remember if there was anything for Get Out, but there was something for, if you hear it jingling, that's my dryer. Sings me a little ditty when it's done. But at the opening of Us, it said that fact about there's, like, thousands of miles of, like, just, like, abandoned tunnels, subways, just, like, shit underground, and that sets the whole thing for the movie. This quote does the same thing. We open with a very pivotal scene that you don't see the rest of until later. It seems like you hear, like, you know, the sitcom playing, and then you hear what I wrote down and thought was a gunshot, but it turned out to be a balloon popping, and then you hear, like, the sounds of an animal going crazy, and again, it's, like, black screen and showing, like, the logos and shit, and then it shows this POV from under a table on a sitcom set, and it's, like, facing out towards the audience, like, you can see the chairs, but they're all empty. There's no crew, there's no audience, and there is a body laying, like, it's like a living room. There's a body, like, legs are poking out from behind the couch. It is missing one shoe, and the shoe is sitting upright, and I'm sure if you've seen anything about this movie, or if you've watched it yourself, there's a shoe that's sitting upright, kind of defying gravity. After the end of my summary, I will get to that. I will sort of do my take on the movie and my analysis at the end, but I will probably be sprinkling it in throughout. This is just me kind of compiling my thoughts as I go. It has been 2 days since I've seen this movie, and I have not stopped thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about it. I think I'm gonna go insane. Sitting next to this body is this chimpanzee in a shirt and a birthday hat, and it takes off the hat and it nudges the person, and the person doesn't move, and then the chimp looks at the camera and it cuts away. I just got very excited because after that cuts away, there's this gorgeous establishing shots. Again, cinematography is wonderful. I did Google the name of the guy who was the cinematographer, but I cannot pronounce his name. Go seek him out. He has done Tenet, Her, like a bunch of shit that I know is, like, critically acclaimed, and he did phenomenal work in this. Fucking gorgeous. Gorgeous setting. Love it. I'm from the South, kind of. And I think ever since Westerns kind of died out, we don't really use that Western desert setting, which is a shame because it's gorgeous when done right. It is this, like, it sets the mood. It makes you feel like you're in this big, dusty, hot, open area, in the summer with all these horses and all the shit that's happening. It's really great. But there's a guy working on this little truck doing some work for the horses, like moving hay. He's been doing it since the early morning when it's still dark, and you hear radio talking about people disappearing. I didn't quite catch it. I have an auditory processing disorder, and I can't really catch everything that is said, especially if there is a bunch of visual information going on at the same time. I will probably rewatch this with subtitles and catch if I missed anything, but I checked online and people said they were talking about hikers going missing in the area. He does a bunch of horse work, which I'm familiar with. I used to ride horses, which makes it's very interesting with... I have people that I know that have never even been within like a mile of a horse. They've never touched one. They've never seen one. They've just seen them in fields in the distance. And I feel like it portrays like people who work with horses and understand horses very well. And I will get to it later, but the nature of horses and animals like them. Because horses especially, they are giant beasts. They are powerful. I knew someone who had gotten kicked in the leg and they had to fucking amputate that leg because it shattered their shin. And it just got infected and stuff. But they're very nice creatures. They're just not... They're still creatures. They're not like dogs or cats. Well, they're not like dogs that are gentle and have been domesticated and in households for the last however long, forever. They have always been outside and they've been working animals. They haven't been, cuddle on my lap. Some of them can be like that, but I like that this movie is like, yeah, they get spooked, yeah, they misbehave. Like, it is part of like the overarching themes. This guy gets this horse to lay down, and that's when you learn that they specifically, well, I think it is stated in the trailer, that they train horses for movies and for, like, TVs and stuff, and the guy who is training it is played by Keith David. He is, Otis Sr., the main character is Otis Jr., who is played by Daniel Kaluuya, and I'm just going to say it right now, everyone in this film, every single actor did phenomenal. They deserve all the awards and even more, all the acclaim, even to like the most minute background characters. I don't quite know, I am a little foggy on the specific processes of how movies get made. I know sort of the on-set stuff, but like the whole producer... writer, everything in between is a little foggy for me, but I believe it is Peele who writes the scripts. His scripts are very tight, and his people are people. They feel like they have realistic conversations. The main two characters are siblings, and I said to my sister after this movie, this felt like they had scenes that, like, yeah, like, are exact conversations that we've had, or interactions that we've had. Well, maybe it's just me and my sister are weird and like, or these people aren't weird. Maybe we're just like these people and it isn't like this for every sibling. There's one character that is a retail worker. The way he spoke and people talk to him, I'm like, yep, I get talked like that too every day. And I behave like that almost every day. I'm not a retail worker, I'm a food worker, but, close enough. Just, like, and there's just awkward like, in movies, they usually cut out the miscommunications and the awkwardness. Like, there is a scene that is just so awkward, and there's a few that are very human, which is, like, something I really enjoy about Peele movies, is they feel very human, even if this movie isn't real. It's partially about the humans, but it's partially not, but every single one has felt like these people could be real. I could just be a fly in the wall in their lives of their experience in this. But Again, Keith David, they call him Papa, I think. They either call him Papa or Pops. Love Keith David. It was so funny. I flipped my shit because I had just seen him in a TV show called Amphibia, where he played one of the villains. And he sounds, just like him. I think he used a similar voice for both. He was the cat in Coraline. He was the witch doctor in the Princess and the Frog. If you've seen a cartoon, you've probably heard his voice before. He has a very distinct and very awesome voice. They talk about horses and movies, and there's this interaction that is very realistic between, like, a parent and a child. He's like, "You good?" And Daniel Kaluuya's character, OJ, Otis Jr., is like, "Yeah." Or he's just like, "You good?" And he's like, "All right, go get your sister." Like, smartass. He doesn't say smartass, but you can kind of feel that, like, "All right, smartass, get out of here." He gets his phone, or he starts walking towards the house. I think he's calling his sister. I don't think she's actually there at that point. But all of a sudden his phone goes out. There's this machine that people use, and I have heard from people who haven't really been on, like, horse ranches, don't really know, but it's this machine that has, bars sticking out to attach to a horse's reins, and it just walks them in a circle. That is for cooling them down after riding them, after having them run around. It's after a workout, it cools them, to unwind. Every time I rode a horse, you would put it on, like, a walker and, like, take off your tack, or you would brush them and shit, put away their tack, and then you would, like, take off your shit and let them walk. But the walker goes out and you hear fucking weird noises. I don't remember what the weird noise is. There's a lot of weird noises in this movie that I just wrote weird noise and couldn't fucking remember the exact noise, but you hear weird noises. And there's, like, shit falling from the sky, like, little things that, like, pelt it. And he looks, and Pops just is slumped over on the horse, and the horse suddenly, like, makes a little, like, I'm not gonna try to make a horse noise, fuck you. But it makes, like, kind of a startled noise and starts walking, and the dad, like, isn't moving, and the horse is, like, keeps going after, and he falls off, and I thought he was dead right away, but he's not. So, and all of a sudden, like, he, like, goes to his dad, all of a sudden they're in the car, and his dad is bleeding from his head. You can't quite see. It does kind of feel like if you've ever had someone you care about get hurt and you were reacting to it, it feels very like it, because it's like, he sees it, he realizes something's wrong, all of a sudden he's in the car, and his dad's bleeding, and he's trying to get his dad to answer questions. I couldn't quite catch what the questions were, but he was getting him to, like, list something, telling him he was doing good, but he was bleeding a lot, and it was obvious he was, like, not fully there. All of a sudden, he's in the hospital, sitting, like, I think watching a doctor take care of his dad. All of a sudden, he's driving back home. We see, like, a shot of the dad's face. At this point, the dad is dead. There is a, like, something obviously, like, went into his head, into his skull, and you see x-rays of inside, there's something in there. And again, it's, like, over top his eye. It's, like, it turns out the thing that had got him was a quarter. Imagine if someone just, like, shot a quarter into you. It's like there's a coin slot in his eye now. And OJ is driving home, and he has a bag with the quarter that they took out of his dad's head there. And he's driving back, and the horse his dad had been riding and training, Ghost, a white horse. I love white horses, but I rode a white pony with black speckles and blue eyes. His name was Frosty. He was an asshole. White horses, from my experience, have been nice, but specifically beautiful white ponies are all assholes. I don't know if I'm pony racist or if, like, it's just I'm meeting bad ponies. Anyway, this horse named Ghost is standing out in the road. I think he probably did not bother to put the horse back. Like, obviously, you wouldn't in that situation. And he sees that the horse has something stuck in his flank, and it's a key. Someone said somewhere that Mythbusters debunked that even if a quarter fell from the Empire State Building, it could not lodge itself in someone's head like that. So whatever shot these things out, it shot them out with a force. Like, it was more than just acceleration. It was something shooting it out. And then we see the title card. Nope. I think this is a double title card. Daniel Kaluuya, and we are inside something fucking weird for the credits, like, oh, a Jordan Peele film, and then it says, like, the names of the people. I don't remember if there's music, but you're in this weird, like, tunnel thing, and later you figure out what it is, and if you're here, you are in the spoiler section. So it turns out it's, like, the inside of the alien. So great. Don't want to think about that for too long. But I feel like his reaction to the emergency was, again, very realistic. I have had to take loved ones to the hospital. I've had someone I care about go into anaphylaxis, and I had to be the one to call 911 and then, like, drive myself home after they were taken in an ambulance. And yeah, it just, like, that feeling of just, like, you're freaking out, shit's happening, all of a sudden it's in the hands of professionals, and you are just blank, and you're just waiting, or you're just driving back home, and you're waiting for the emotions to hit. And I feel like for OJ's character specifically, they haven't hit him yet, and the story takes place 6 months after this, but it feels like he never processed it. But yeah, it does take a while to hit, because you have this adrenaline going through you of, I gotta get help, gotta get them taken care of. And when they are in the care of professionals, is usually when it hits. Again, when I had to have an ambulance come get someone I care about, I literally waited for the ambulance doors to close, and then I started fucking bawling in this Kroger parking lot. And I had multiple little old ladies being like, "Are you okay, dearie?" And I had to be like, "Yeah, you see that ambulance? Someone I care about's in there." Yeah, I don't believe it feels like OJ's character never had that moment of, oh shit, like, my loved one is in danger but is in the care of professionals, or in his case, oh shit, my loved one's in danger and is dead. They don't really bring it up much, but it doesn't feel like it ever clicked with him. I will talk about, so the main character, OJ, Daniel Kaluuya, again, phenomenal. He is nothing like his character in Get Out. I had a friend that was like, oh, is it gonna be the same character, or is it gonna be a similar character? Nope. Very different, different way of speaking, extremely different way of acting. I'll say it now. I don't know if this was how he was written or acted, but I believe OJ is some sort of neurodivergent. I connect in a very deep level with him. OJ's character, you can tell from, like, this next scene, he doesn't like talking to people. He's very quiet. He keeps his eyes on the ground, or he focuses on his animals. He, again, very socially inept, contrast with his sister, who is very, very energetic, very socially adept, able to get people in the room to, like, immediately, like, be energized and magnetized to her, like, very opposite ends. And as an introvert in a family of extroverts, I feel it. Well, introvert in a family of a mixed bag. And he doesn't really seem to connect with people. He really seems to connect with the horses he takes care of. He talks to them like, when no one else is around, when it's obvious, like, it's not, like, he's genuinely, like, at one point he's like, all right, Lucky, like, I'll be right back, when talking to a horse, and, he sort of, at some points, treats, people the way he would treat animals, which is not a bad thing, because, you know, he treats animals well, but, he like, shushes someone by going, whoa, like you would with a horse. When he's trying to get someone to follow him fast, he's slapping his legs, which is, like, what you do with a dog, or, again, like a horse or something. And a big thing about this movie is eye contact, which he is very good at avoiding. Again, I don't know if this was how he was meant to be written or acted, but he came off as very neurodivergent, and I connected with him on such a deep level. I am a huge animal person. I hate eye contact, but I did eventually, like, train myself with it. I have a tough time understanding other people, and I feel like I understand animals better than people, especially, like, dogs. For me, horses, it didn't really click, but I feel like people like this have our animals or have our special interests where we're like, yeah, I get this better than I get, like, any human. And sometimes I do communicate with my friends on accident the way I do with, say, my cats or my dog. I'll just be like, what are you doing? In that pet voice. And then they're like, why are you talking to me like that? I'm like, oh, shit. Sorry. That's my cat voice. Anyway. We cut to, OJ is with his, black/brown horse, Lucky. He's got, like, orange tape on him for, like, the marks for, some sort of special effects. There's sand under them and a green screen behind them. It seems like it's going to be some sort of ocean thing. I don't know, some sort of commercial. And you kind of get his feeling. The editing and the camera work helps you feel how uncomfortable and overwhelmed he is. He's telling him, like, don't touch the horse. These people are kind of asking questions to him. This actress comes on, Bonnie Clayton. She turned out to be not important. I wrote her name down, and it wasn't important. And he introduces himself. He says his name is OJ, and she's like, OJ? And it's like, mortified. And he's like, yeah, Otis Jr. And she seems kind of spooked by him. The people just kind of stare at him awkwardly, and they're like, they kind of are telling him, like, all right, give us, like, your safety presentation, and he's like, my sister will be here in a minute, and they're like, well, we gotta go, bud, like, they kind of mention, like, oh, like, where's the older guy? Like, the older guy was better, and then someone's like, oh, his dad died, like, 6 months ago, and they're like, oh, that sucks, we're stuck with him. No empathy for OJ or his dad. And he's just kind of mumbling, like, here are the rules, like, what you should do, what you don't do, this is my name, and they're like, you gotta talk louder, and he's obviously struggling. All of a sudden, there she is, Keke Palmer, playing, Emerald, OJ's sister. She comes running in, and immediately love her energy. She is so, and it's shown throughout the movie, she's like my little brother, and something we like to say about him is he always seems like he's running for mayor. Ever since he was, like, able to walk and talk, he would just, like, talk to random strangers, like, hi, how are you? Good morning. Like, oh, I love your shirt. Just, like, stuff like that. She just has this energy and this charisma where she, like, instantly, like, connects with people. Hollywood Horses is the name. I thought it was Haywood, and then I saw it written out, and I was like, fuck, it's Haywood. Love her cadence. She gives this sort of speech that I believe is in most trailers, where she says, the first pictures arranged to, like, have a moving picture there was a black man riding a horse, and that man was their great-great-great-grandfather, or their great-great-grandfather, and then OJ goes, another great, and she goes, there's another great. And everyone loves her, and then afterwards she kind of tries to give her resume. She's like, I act, I direct, I sew, and I make a great grilled cheese. Love her so much. I would love to have a person like that in my life. I mean, I do have a few people like that, but specifically Emerald. Someone pointed out that the reason she keeps forgetting another great is later in the movie, she puts on a video of her father delivering the same speech, and the reason she's forgetting the other great is because she is taking word for word what he said, and to him, it is just his great-great-grandfather. So she keeps forgetting that other great because she's just mimicking her dad's speech word for word. There is kind of an air of she was not as close to the father as OJ, but with little things like that, you can tell she was still part of the family unit and still did care deeply. And part of the thing is OJ does not want to give up the ranch, even though it's falling on hard times, because his father, like, innovated how films are done and, like, film horses. Oh, no, I had a short circuit there. Crap, dropped something. And he does not want to let go of that, and, like, his dad did something great, and they shouldn't give up, like, their dad's legacy, and, Emerald never says it, but it feels like she feels the same way. It's just a sort of show-don't-tell thing, which I think is really great. And then one of the, like, people on set goes, all right, tell the horse that Bonnie's ready, which, all right, hey, horse, the actor's ready, like, okay, which connects to the whole, like, theme of what's of animal exploitation and, like, humanization, but I thought it was super fucking funny. Like, sort of what I do. I'm like, tell your cat I love them, and people are like, okay, but they won't understand. And walks away and is, like, talking to, like, other people on set, and Bonnie is getting all up in the biz, and the people are standing behind the horse, and poor OJ's like, oh, please don't do that, please, like, no loud noises, please be careful, like, and again, Bonnie's like, what's the horse's name? Oh, Lucky? Oh, is he Lucky? And he's calling for M, and he's like, M, please help, which, like, me too. Not M specifically, but also M specifically. And the horse is freaked out by this weird mirror orb that I don't know what the fuck it is. If you're involved in movies and know what that is, please tell me, because it's been driving me nuts. What do they need to put the mirror orb in the horse's face for? The horse gets freaked the fuck out and kicks, and I don't think it kicks a person, but it kicks something someone behind it was holding, and it wigs everyone out, and people decide, like, oh, we're not going to go with your company, we're just going to use a wooden green horse and, like, green screen and a horse later. And they say, like, your dad was great, but just, like, you don't feel like you're very confident, and, like, fuck you guys didn't listen. And they drive back, and I don't remember what the context is, but she says, like, this whack-ass OJ not making me feel loved, which, like, me too. If, like, my sibling is just, like, doing anything, I'm like, oh, you've wounded me, sort of thing, which I really love. I don't fucking know the name of the inflatable men. So there's, like, 1,000 different names I have written down for them that because I have no idea what they're called. What are they called? I called them the Floppy Men Rainbow. There's nice, gentle music. There's really gorgeous shots of, like, the landscape going by and of, like, Em kind of sticking her head out the window. And then we go up to Jupiter's Claim, which is a little amusement park type area run by Steven Yeun's character, and I'm gonna try my best not to talk too much about Steven Yeun, because I fucking love Steven Yeun. I loved him as Glenn, and I loved him in Mayhem, and I believe he was in that bird show that I didn't get to see too much of, but I love this guy, I love his acting, I love his vibe, and he did fucking phenomenal in this movie. He portrayed such a beautifully complex character in a way I don't think any other person could have. I mean, maybe, but like, I don't know, give him some credit, I guess. Jupiter, his name is Ricky, his character's name is Ricky something. Help Google. Ricky Park. And people call him Jupe. I don't know why they do. Well, I guess his nickname is Jupiter. Jupiter's Claim. Oh, you know what? I just connected the dots. I'm an idiot. It sounds, I'm not sure of what's going on with M, but it sounds like she hasn't been there for about 3 years, because she says, oh, where's Gold Rush? And OJ's like, it went out 3 years ago, and it got replaced with Jupiter's Claim. I don't know if that means she hasn't just been specifically to that place, or she hasn't been to the ranch, or what's happening. Because OJ sort of, well, not OJ, because that commercial opportunity bombed, OJ has to sell another horse to make ends meet, and this time he's selling Lucky. I think, I don't remember how many other horses they have left, but it turns out he's been selling horses to Jupe, the guy who runs Jupiter's Claim, Steven Yeun, for a couple months now, I think ever since his father died, just to make ends meet and keep the ranch. There's a lot of really cool things. This is a really cool setting, and I saw somewhere a video of someone exploring it, and it's like after the events of the movie, so it's like super cool. I really want to go there, but I think it's in Florida, and hell to the no can I afford to go to Florida and or California, Universal Studios, either place. Some things to note that I wrote it down. I was like, these are going to be important later, and they were super important. This big inflatable man that is supposed to be Jupe, it's this little giant inflatable cowboy. It's really cute. There's a well. The whole reason that it is Western themed is because Steven Yeun's character Jupe was in a Western movie when he was younger. Looks like when he was a child actor, because he was a child actor, called Kid Sheriff. And the poster for the movie is Ricky and two other characters looking down into a well. Sort of think the poster for Holes. It gives Holes vibes. It gives especially like Goonies vibes. I do think it came out in like the 90s, so probably. And there's this well where there's a bunch of light bulbs and a camera at the bottom. It'll take a picture of you. And Emerald, and you have to put like a quarter in and then crank it, and then it takes a picture and it comes out the side. Emerald fucking photobombs these kids because she's trying to figure out like what the hell they're doing in the well. And again, I wrote down the well because I was like, that's cool as shit, and also I feel like it's gonna come back. And again, OJ talks to Lucky like he can understand him. He goes, hang tight, Lucky, I'll be right back. Or just, I'll be back. And I'm like, goddamn. Literally, sometimes if I'm going to take out the trash and my cats are looking at me like, where are you going? I'll be like, I'll be right back. Even though they have no fucking idea what, they don't know what the hell I'm saying. Emerald asks how many he hands off Lucky. Emerald asks how many horses he's had to sell. 10 horses just to keep afloat. Holy shit. Horses be expensive. It probably costs a ton of money to run a ranch, so understandable. Horses are one of the more expensive animals to own, except for like exotic animals. They're so big, they take a lot of space and they take a lot of food. So it makes sense. But he says to her, I gotta go into this business meeting with Ricky. You're a liability because you promote your shit and your side shit, and she's like, this is my side shit. And then they go, fuck you, which is an interaction that's happened in a million movies, but also happens, like, every day in, like, everyone's lives. So it's, I don't know. I just think it's very cute. He's in this. I love the outfits. I'm gonna look up the costume, because I did notice their name in the credits. The costume. Costume design. Alex Bovard? Whatever. Costumes in this fucking great. Love the outfits. I especially love Steven Yeun's outfits. His little cowboy outfits. I love it so much. He looks so handsome. This sounds like I'm talking down to him. I'm just not attracted to men, so I don't know how to talk about them in a positive way, I guess. I'm kidding. It's kind of like that. I don't know how to talk about men except, like, oh, they're so man. He was in, obviously, the Kid Sheriff movie, and he's telling him, like, oh, I just dropped off Lucky, but I do want to start a plan of buying them back, and Steven Yeun is kind of like, okay, kind of like, you get the vibe at the time that you think that Jupe thinks that OJ definitely could never afford it, or maybe Jupe just likes using the horses as attraction so much that he does not want to give them up, and would probably like give OJ a price he couldn't afford. But turns out to not be the case. Again, spoilers. It's because all the horses have been eaten. And it's so funny because Emerald, you know what? Fuck it. She's also neurodivergent. Neurodivergent siblings for the win. Because she's just like, OJ's trying to have this business meeting and she's just like walking around like, oh, what's this? Like all his, what do you call him? Hold on. I have to Google this. I'm back. It sounds like a second for you, but it was like 5 minutes for me. I was Googling and I just couldn't find the fucking word. Memorabilia from all the shit he's been in. Kid Sheriff, specifically. Again, it seems like he was like a child star. And Emerald is kind of trying to ask questions while OJ's fucking having a business meeting. And it is very hard to divert your attention between what she's asking and what OJ's trying to talk about. And Jupe seems happy to, like, answer. I don't think he ever seems annoyed, which is, like, oh, it's kind of cute that he's, like, always, like, excited that people are excited about his stuff. But, it is kind of sinister if you think about, like, his character at the end of his arc. He doesn't, I don't think he develops any. You just kind of see the result of past development, which is very interesting. I didn't think about that. OJ's character, I believe, does have an arc. Every other character has an arc, obviously. I think Steven Yeun's character wasn't meant to develop. It was just meant to show the end of developing. And character development is not always a good thing. Character arcs can end badly, and characters can change for the worse. And this was the case for Jupe. She's looking at, like cards and shit of the characters from Kid Sheriff, and she says something about how, like, because there's a white character, there's Steven Yeun's character, and then there's a black character that didn't have a name, and apparently the guy who played him, like, no one knows his name or something about that. Again, it was very hard to split my attention between the two of them. And then she sees on the wall a Mad comic, which I have never cared for Mad. I don't know why. I think when I was younger I saw one and it, like, traumatized me. And it's a Mad comic about, it says, like, Gordy, and she's like, oh, what the hell is this? He's like, oh, it's from Gordy's Home, this, like, show that I was on. And she's like, oh, yeah, like, I remember. I don't remember what happened, though. And he's like, yeah, it was super popular. Here, come here. I usually charge a fee for this. And then, like, leads them into this secret door wall panel that is behind the Gordy Mad comic. And there's just like a bunch of memorabilia in glass cases in his office. Everything is kind of out, but in this part it is all in like glass cases. He says he usually charges a fee, and one time a couple had, oh, my cat just came in and I didn't even notice. Hello. He says he usually charges a fee. Apologies if you hear jingling. My cats all have collars because one of them is black, and I would trip over him if he didn't. So if you hear jinglies, sucks to suck. He usually charges a fee. One time he had a couple pay, I think he said $10,000 to sleep in the room, and then he says, I won't ask. Which, if you think about it, and after you learn the backstory to, like, what happened with Gordy's home, kind of fucked up. Those people were sick in the head. If they, like, fucked in that room, ew, gross. And there's the shoe from the beginning, again, the scene with, like, the chimp, and it's standing upright like it was, in the same position, and she's like, what happened? And he's like, oh, didn't you see the SNL skit about it? Chris Kattan, who I don't fucking know, I don't know who that is. I didn't watch SNL. I'm 20 years old. I'm not 40. Sorry, 40-year-olds and or young, old-souled people. That's just not my shit. And he seems kind of distant and sad with this. Certainly not, I don't feel like the way someone who has properly processed their trauma would talk about this. It feels like he's, like, sad and distant, but he's certainly, like, he hasn't fully processed, like, how fucked up it was. I just realized how many times I smack on my lips. I'm gonna try to stop doing that. I'm sorry if I've hurt anyone's ears. But Chris Kattan is Gordy, and anytime in this SNL sketch, anytime he hears the word about jungle, he goes nuts, and he's saying, like, oh, he did so great, he was crushing it, killing it, and then it's a flashback to young Steve under the table, and you kind of realize, oh, the POV shot was young Steve under that table, and, the kid actor for, Jupe is so cute. I want to squish his little cheeks. I adore him, and his acting was phenomenal. Kid acting is usually not that good. It's probably he pulls from experience, not with what happened, but specifically it shows a scene of, like, behind the scenes of a sitcom, so it's probably, like, he's pulled from experience of being a kid actor. I will have to Google if he's been in anything else. I don't believe he has, that I've seen, but maybe he's pulling from experience on being set. I'm Googling the cast of Nope, and someone said, is Nope a real movie? Sure is. I sure hope it is, or we're all just going insane. Looks like Lincoln Lambert? Is that the right kid? Lincoln Lambert. Maybe. But, anyway, he says it was 6 minutes and 13 seconds of havoc. And you apparently, I think Emerald says you can't use chimps, for, like, TV anymore. I don't know if that's true in real life. You know what? I'm not gonna Google, like, a 10th thing while doing this, but, interesting that this is an alternate universe where, like, an event happened and now we can't do chimps. We can't do chimps. And then I'm not sure how that scene ends. I don't remember. But after that, like, after the flashback, back on the farm, I noticed I fucking love Emerald's outfits so much. She always looks very cute, very fashionable. Love it a lot. OJ mentions that Jupe wants to buy the ranch, and I mean, kind of like it's obvious, but like no way in hell over his dead body and probably her dead body imagine that happens. She hit a vape, and I was like, whoa. I don't know why. It's just interesting to see vapes entering, like, pop culture, because before it was, like, kids and their vapes, but now it's, like, a thing people do normally. I know, like, every single person in my life, except for, like, my grandma vapes, and my mother. My mom doesn't vape. That would be hilarious, though. That was my sister's cat. His name is Fish. She's like, oh, we should hit the liquor cabinet, and then he's like, I got weed. I am not as you can probably tell, I am not a person who smokes weed or enjoys any kind of weed. But like, just the way that she's like, oh my god, if you should have told me you had weed. That's awesome. Like, and then all of a sudden she like runs up and goes to like smack him, and he dodges, and she's like, ooh, your reflexes are still good. Again, as someone with multiple siblings, I can say that it's a very realistic. Literally, me and my sister are both adults, and sometimes still we'll just like whack each other or like go to hit each other, and the other person will dodge, and we're like, whoa, almost got you. Almost had a fucking sibling throwdown, which I have had a few of, and I'm sure anyone with a sibling can say, yes, you can fucking throw down. And then we get to this scene where the two of them are hanging out in the house at night, and Emerald tells the story of a horse named Jean Jacket, and she's like, yeah, I talked to my therapist about that, and OJ's like, you got a therapist? And she's like, yeah, I fuck one on occasion, which I can't tell if she's like, yeah, I have a therapist sometimes, or if she has sex with a therapist. But she was promised when she was younger that she would get to train the horse Jean Jacket. When she was younger, for her 9th birthday, and all of a sudden, she says, I'm looking at this window at, this enclosure, and I'm watching y'all train my horse, and it's a flashback, and you see Pops, and little OJ is fucking staring at her, and she says, Pops never looked at me, but you did. And he does the like, I'm watching you thing, with the 2 fingers. I'm doing it right now. You can't see it, but like where you point 2 fingers at your eyes and then the other person's eyes. And he's like, yeah, that's because, or I don't think he says it's because. He's like, oh yeah, we trained Jean Jacket for the movie Scorpion King 2000 something. I think it came out the year I was born. They ended up using camels, and she's like, well, the point is, fuck the point. Me too. I have moments like that where I'm like, here's this long-ass rant. I don't know why I went on this rant. And then it's this shot of just OJ talking, and you can't see Emerald, but, she's still there because he's talking to her, and he says about how their dad changed the industry, and they can't just let that go. They can't let his farm go. They can't let his legacy go. And then he's kind of quiet, and then she asks, why is Ghost in the enclosure? Or why is Ghost outside? And then you get a title card that says Ghost, which confused the hell out of me. The first time it happened, I was like, excuse me, I thought I was watching Nope. It was very eerie, just like, she's just quiet, and he's like, he said this serious thing, and just all of a sudden, like, hey, one of the horses is out, Ghost isn't out, Ghost is in the arena, which I think is attached to the barn. It's, like, a fence around it, and there's a part where they can get out from the barn, but, like, obviously Ghost shouldn't be out of, their, what do you call their little apartment, the horse apartments in the barns. You know what I'm talking about, the little horse apartments. And then, OJ's outside going to get Ghost, and, The scenes at night, I think most of them, at least especially this one I noticed, has beautiful blue lighting. I think that is normal with most night scenes that aren't, like, impossible to see, but I don't know. It was just worth noting. The colors in this movie are phenomenal. If you're a person who likes actually good color in movies, then you'll enjoy this. And you hear this weird-ass noise, scared the shit out of me. I was certain it was aliens. It was just Emerald blasting music, and she's playing it on a record player, and he can hear it from, like, half a mile down away from the house. I don't know if there's record players that can play that loud, but maybe I'm wrong, because I've never touched a record player. I've just seen my sister's record player, which I'm probably going to touch today now that I've noticed that I've never touched one. Sorry, Ellie, if you're hearing this, I touched your record player. Deal with it. I promise I was gentle. Cuts back to her inside, blasting this music, and she's dancing. And for, like, improv dancing, it's really good. It was probably choreographed, but go off, Emerald. It was really, like, good. And, like, OJ's, like, looking back at the house, like, girl, what the fuck? And all of a sudden, Ghost hops the fence and runs away. And she's like, where's Ghost going? He's like, I don't fucking know. He doesn't say that, but you get, that energy of, like, I don't know. He follows in the truck, and there's weird wind and or music. I don't know if it was meant to be the wind, like, in the valley, or if it was music, or if it was music that was meant to be the noise. I don't know. You can see a sort of stadium that Jupe has set up in the distance. Their closest neighbor is, like, fucking 10 miles away, which is, that's how it is out there. And he's got, like, these giant stadium lights, and you can hear his voice announcing something on, like, megaphone or speakers, but you can't really make it out, but you can tell it's Jupe. And then the lights go out, and then they come back on, and then this fucking beam picks up Ghost, and the horse is screaming. If you've ever played Skyrim or seen movies with a horse dying, you've heard a horse scream, and it is terrible. It is not like a person scream. It is very different. Not going to imitate it. I'm not going to play a noise because, again, it is a very horrific sound. As someone who, again, grew up around horses and grew up with a family that hunts, I know the sound of a dying animal. And that was it. And it's mortifying and it's really creepy. You don't see what picked up Ghost, but the camera kind of follows this invisible thing, and the sound of Ghost screaming is, like, moving across the sky. Music comes, it's so funny, Emerald's music goes out, and she's still dancing for a second, and then it comes back, and it's only, all the power, like, also the lights, and then she has this moment of, like, what the fuck, after the power comes back on? Like, she kept dancing, she was fine, but she only realized, like, oh, like, yeah, the lights back on, that's weird. They come back on, and there's a thing in the sky. The aliens, plural or singular. Just kidding, it's singular. There's one alien. Oh my god, is there multiple? Hold on. I think it is implied that the alien is the only one of its species. I sure hope so, because fuck that thing. OJ fucking books it back to the house, and he's having this moment where he's like, holy shit, like, what did I just see? And Emerald sticks her head out the window, goes, did you see it? The power? Like, yeah, I saw the power going out. Did you see perhaps the alien? And then she goes, where's Ghost? They watch the tape. Power goes out. And then there's this scene that I regret not paying attention to, because looking back on it and looking back on people talking about it, I have a hard time recollecting it because I think I was still processing the previous scene. But they talk about, like, basically, like, what the hell was that? I think it was aliens. And there's a line, like, what's a bad miracle? They think, like, what happened to their dad was a bad miracle. And there's, like, I think the first instance of someone going, nope. I don't remember the context. Again, I had, I regret not really paying attention to that conversation. I didn't think it would be important until I heard the bad miracle part, and then I was like, oh shit, and I, like, wrote down bad miracle. Sometimes I'm able to listen and watch and write, and sometimes I'm not, which is a downside of watching a movie. Well, I didn't watch it for the sake of the podcast. I also really fucking wanted to see it, but a downside of taking notes and trying to remember things for the sake of a podcast is sometimes you miss things. Like that phenomenal line, what's a bad miracle? Which I think, oh God, I saw someone list instances of quote-unquote bad miracles in this movie. Like something that's like a 1 in a million chance of happening would be a miracle if it wasn't like a terrible thing, like their dad getting hit by a quarter in that head and dying. They say it's from the cargo of a plane, by the way, which, no, it's not. That would not happen. And then there's this hilarious scene where they're in the parking lot of the Fry's Electronics in Burbank, which, funnily enough, has a fake UFO smashed into it as a decoration. And he's like, Emerald's like, we gotta get cameras. We're gonna, get money from this. And then OJ goes, I'm broke, right? Me too. She calls him dyslexic ass, which, like, again, sibling talk. They're getting, like, camera shit. And, like, literally, like, mid, like, conversation with OJ, Emerald, like I said earlier, stops and literally says, like, to a woman walking by, how are you doing? You look pretty. And then just goes back to her conversation, which I love. Sometimes I can be that person, but people who can be that all the time, good on you. You make the world a brighter place. And she fucking, they're like talking about, like, the money shot, the Oprah shot. And then she goes, I didn't say Oprah. You said Oprah. You love Oprah. The money shot and the Oprah shot. And they're basically like, we just gotta get, like, I think, like, one good shot of this alien. At the time, they think it's aliens. We gotta get, like, a good shot, and then we're gonna be on Oprah. Like, it'll be so good, even Oprah has to talk about it. And then Emerald fucking rams the checkout counter with her cart. Which is, like, an intrusive thought of mine. I always want to ram shit with my cart. But, rude. And then we were introduced to a character who I thought was going to be a one-off, and then I thought was going to be annoying. But, turned out to be one of the best characters. I love this character so much. His name is Angel. He is played by the guy whose name I probably fucked up, Brandon Piera. Very service worker, energy. He seems very tired, and he's, like, a little rude, but he is just, like, doing his job, where he's like, do you want to sign up? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, you would do, and she's like, nope. And he's like, do you want someone to install it? And they're like, we're good. Is it an easy install? And Angel's like, for me, you guys won't be able to do it. And then it's, like, cut to the farm. Angel's pulling up in his, it was so weird. Sometimes when I was writing, I would call Angel Lucky, which I don't think thematically they should have swapped the names, but I think I like Angel being called Lucky and Lucky being called Angel. he pulls up in his van, and he's like, I love the horse shit and fresh air. And then he just yells, and OJ's like, whoa there, please don't yell, we have horses. And he's like, oh, sorry. And then Emerald is like, how long is this setup? Over an hour? And Angel's like, yeah. And she's like, all right, I'm going to the store. And OJ's like, why? And she's like, don't worry about it. Do you need anything? Don't worry about it. I'll be back. The comedy in Jordan Peele's movies are very good. They always crack me the hell up. And then while Angel's getting his shit out of his car, he just starts trauma dumping on OJ. He's like, sorry, I was mean earlier, broke up, I got out of a 2-year relationship, with Rebecca Diaz, my girlfriend. Here's a picture. She wanted to be an actress, she ran away. Like, if you see her, like, I don't know what the hell. Oh, I've had people just be like, oh, by the way, here's my ex-girlfriend. Her name is so-and-so. This is a picture of her. If you see her in this area, that's her. Like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this information? They go set up all the shit. They put one on top of the roof. I think one on a fence. There's just 2 cameras, camera A, camera B. There's a very cool shot that is... What? Oh, my cat was just staring at me. What? Again, this won't be very much edited because it is going to be super long and I have more episodes to record. And it is me kind of just spilling my thoughts about this movie. Very cool shot from the roof. Not from the camera that is set up on the roof, but from the roof showing the camera and, like, way kind of in the distance, them on the ground setting it up and, like, moving it. And, he's like, here, like, showing him, like, here's the view from the camera, and OJ's like, can you move it up? And he's like, yeah, and he goes, like, up, more up, more up. I think Angel had, like, mentioned something about UFOs in Fries, and Emerald kind of was like, oh, that's funny, in, like, a sort of, like, cryptic way, and Angel, like, starts getting that they're looking for aliens, and Angel's like, it's not UFO now, it's UAP, they want to keep us in the dark. Oh, it's so I mean, it's probably true with how the government be, but it is still very funny that he just starts spouting this to a stranger, and he talks about the declassified UFO footage from the CIA, the fucking government agency, I don't know, and he says, like, oh, there's, like, a couple of options, maybe they're aliens looking for peace, maybe they're future humans, maybe they're planet-destroying creatures that are gonna probe us in the assholes, and then OJ's kind of like, cool, anyway, me too, bud. That is also my reaction to that information. Which, funnily enough, it is none of those. It is not, it's just, no, it is not those. And he goes, anyway, Ancient Aliens, watch it on the History Channel, or whatever the hell it's on. And then Emerald's, like, yelling in the distance, which, like, get closer, girl, what are you doing? They walk up, and he's like, you good? Because she's, like, out of breath. And she's like, yeah, it's a training horse we ordered, the decoy for horse training. She fucking stole, a display, plastic horse from Jupiter's Claim. It has flags on it, and it has a big old dick, which I noticed and laughed at, and then, I was one person, there was 3 couples that were, like, sporadically placed, and there would be funny shit, and I would laugh, and they wouldn't laugh, and I would feel like the dumbest, oh, that reminds me, there's, the line that Emerald says when, like, giving the safety talk at the commercial, she goes, our family is, like, ever since the beginning, ever since, movies were made, we got skin in the game, and there's one guy on set that, like, laughs and looks around and no one else laughed, and I laughed at that, and the other people in the room didn't laugh in it, and I'm like, fuck, I connected with that guy on a level that I didn't want to ever connect with a person on. And Angel's like, oh, you guys are doing shady shit, like, you guys are acting shady, but Angel's like, I want in, with your alien shit, and then, Jupe drives up in his Jeep, and he's like, and they're kind of like, ah, shit, we stole it, he's gonna notice, and I think he is coming there because they did steal it, but I don't think he gives that much of a shit. He was just, like, double checking, or he was genuinely being a nice guy, because he did come to invite them to some sort of event, but this is the funniest, most awkward conversation, so realistic, I've ever seen in a movie. So they're in, like, the middle of the pasture, which is just dirt, by the way, no grass, because she'd set up the decoy there, and Steven Yeun's character is in his truck at the road, which is, like, a good, like, I'm shit with distance, but it is a big enough distance that you have to scream to talk to each other, God, just remembering how funny this is. He's like, nice decoy. And she's like, thanks. And they say at the same time, where'd you get yours? Because she's trying not to be suspicious, and he's trying to, like, confirm or deny if they stole it. So neither of them answer the question. And that's when Angel's like, oh, you guys are doing shady shit, but he still, like, wants in. And Angel, like, tries to say, like, you should move on, like, you should get out of here. And Emerald's like, shut up, you don't live here. And he's like, sorry, I'm just trying to help. And then Steven Yeun's like, oh, I want to invite you to this thing. And he's, like, holding up a green flyer, and it just flies out of his hand. And he's like, oh, well, I wanted to invite you to this thing. And she's like, okay. And then he's like, thumbs up, and is holding his thumbs up. And Emerald holds her thumbs up, and so does OG. Or, like, Emerald's like, should I do it? And OG's like, yeah, they're all giving him thumbs up. And he just says, thumbs up again. He's holding his thumbs up. Oh, fuck. It's so awkward and funny. I love it so much. And then, back to the farm. They're finished setting up, and Angel's, like, getting ready to leave. He's curious. He's like, I can help. Like, what do you guys need help with? And they just kind of blow him off. He goes, cool. You guys are cryptic fucking assholes. And he's trying to be like, I'll do something free of charge. Like, and they're like, okay, goodbye, Angel. And he's like, my manager's gonna call for a review. And she's like, 5 stars, Angel. Goodbye. Oh, I thought Angel was gonna be, like, a one-off character, but he just kept coming back, and I'm so glad, because he's so funny. Jordan Peele's movies always have really good, comic relief characters, I feel like. In Get Out, it was T.S. motherfucking A. Don't remember his name, but I do remember he was T.S. motherfucking A. In Us, I feel like it was both the dad and just, like, his interactions with his kids, because the kids are hilarious in that. And in this, it is Angel. And it is also, I feel like, Get Out was more serious, and then, like, Peele's comedy has evolved since then, that, like, every character can be involved in it without becoming... What? Oh, sorry, my cat's freaking out. He just scared the shit out of himself with his shadow, and that's not a joke. Literally, his tail moved, and he saw his shadow moved, and it wigged him out. That's hilarious. Oh, cats are stupid. Every character can have comedy and contribute to the comedy without being the comic relief, which is really nice. I kind of like... I love Get Out. Get Out's phenomenal. But, and this is not a knock on Get Out, but it is nice to have characters that are funny other than T.S. motherfucking A. And also the dad, and that's a little funny, but that's because he's, like, racist in a way that's sometimes funny when he's like, I would have voted for Obama a 3rd time. Anyway, then there's a title card that says Clover. OJ's setting out stuff. I don't think this part goes anywhere. I've heard apparently there was an entire character that was cut, and there was probably scenes that were cut that maybe connect to this. And he's like taping this mirror orb, like the one that scared the shit out of the horse, and he's covering it in tape, and also putting it on a plunger. If anyone can tell me what that was about, I'd love to know, because I don't think it ever comes back. I just want to know what happened there. Emerald is in a trailer. I think she lives there. And she's in a Garfield shirt. Cute. Love it. While OJ's doing his shit, he hears a horse yell. Not quite a scream, but it is, like, wigging out. Someone has turned on the sprinkler in the corral and the lights, and he goes and he turns it off, and, like, goes to walk away, and the horses are kind of freaking out, and they turn back on, and he turns around, and I'm like, is right next to the lights, under that, is that a panda? No, it's an alien, and I was just writing, oh, what the fuck, and it was making really interesting noises, like, it sounded like it was using echolocation that when monsters in movies use echolocation, they make cool noises, even though things in real life, if they use echolocation, they don't make those noises. And then another one pokes its head out of one of, like, the stall, that's the word, not a horse apartment, and he literally says, nope, fuck this shit, and he, like, is backing away, and they're following him, and there's this really, really cool shot of he, like, picks up his camera so he can record it, and it slowly peeks its head out, and before the audience, can see it in focus, it focuses on his phone. And then he hears a noise behind, or he, like, something pops up next to him, one of the aliens dropped its head next to him, he fucking punches it, and it was children in costumes, and they're like, oh, don't mess with Jupiter's claim. You later learn that these are, Jupiter's children. He punched one of Jupiter's children in the face. They were being like that because they stole their shit. I think it's really funny that he punched a child in the face and got away with it. You do see later on when you, like, meet the children proper that one of them has a red mark on one of their cheeks, which is hilarious. And then, Emerald, like, runs up and is like, hey, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? And OJ's like, oh, just some kids. And they let Clover out. Which, why the fuck would you do that? Children, why would you let someone's horse out? Oh my god. And it shows Fry's, and it's, like, way late, and I'm like, hey, people who work at Fry's, would you be there that late? And he has another coworker, I thought it was Missy, but apparently, I looked online, and it's Nessie, is there. She jump scares. I wrote coworker jump scare, which, yeah, that's a real thing. I get jump scared by my coworkers. And she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm just working. It's actually because he's watching, the ranch's cameras. There's another jump scare of, Emerald is looking at the cameras, and then a praying mantis is in front of one of them. And you think it's an alien for, like, a second, and it scares the shit out of her, and she, like, laughs at herself. And OJ's out whistling for Clover, and Angel calls, Emerald, and is like, there's a praying mantis on camera A, and she's like, yeah, I see that, are you watching our cameras? And he's like, yeah, but camera B is down, this is like Ancient Aliens. And then the power goes out, and, OJ is walking Clover back, and Clover fucking takes off, and, like, drags him for, like, a couple of feet, and I'm like, ow! I've never been dragged by a horse personally, but people say it, like, knocks the wind out of them and can really injure them. Fucking ow. I don't think he's injured by this, but, oh my god. A decoy horse is stolen And every time the alien picks up something, there's no tractor beam. I misspoke earlier because I did write tractor beam, but it's like a little tornado as it sucks things up. And it steals up the decoy horse, and that's why in like all the posters and stuff, it has flags hanging out, because it's like, again, spoilers, it is alive, and it can't eat it because it's not organic. It spits out inorganic things. And they say later they think this got stuck in its windpipe, so it's kind of like hanging stuck in its throat, but it couldn't really get rid of it. Angel is like, get the fucking bug off, so he can see, and he's like wiggling the camera to try and get it off. OJ is fucking running, and it is pursuing him, and he jumps into this little shack with this very, very cool musical cue. Power is out, phone's out, and so like I think this thing knocks out power and cell service, so her call with Angel drops, and then it's so funny. Angel's like, fuck, and Nessie's like, what happened to OJ? Because, you know, she obviously overheard them, like, yelling about it, and he's like, nothing, don't worry about it. The bug is still on, so, and obviously they want to get that shot, so Emerald gets a ladder and goes up on the roof, and her footsteps are fucking loud. You know, she's glancing over her shoulder, and she's like, I hope you like the taste of Sour Patch Kids, and throws her Sour Patch Kids at the fucking mantis. OJ is, like, watching the ship as it, like, circles the shack, and it picks up Clover. Clover's screaming. Power gets back on. And it just, like, does this, like, really smooth, the ship does this really smooth, it's not a ship, the really smooth thing, like, over the mountain. Power comes back on. Bug flies away right then, which, like, weird. And it's so funny. OJ comes in and starts looking at the cameras, and Emerald's like, that mantis is lucky he's gone. If he was still here, I would fucking eat him. And OJ, again, OJ never has really extreme reactions. It's really funny. I like it. He's very chill. And she's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And she has a bag on her shoulder, and she's like, let's go. And he's like, you can go. I have mouths to feed, referring to the horses. And she's like, fuck, and, like, drops her bag. She's eager to get out of there, but, you know, she would never leave him. Flashback to Pops when he was alive. He says something important to the themes, but I forgot to write it down, and I forgot what it was. And it's a flash of OJ laying in bed, and he has the quarter that killed his father, like, hung up on the wall. Not hung up on the wall, it's in, like, a baggie, and he just, like, stuck a tack in it, and it's, like, on his wall. He's staring at it. They call the cinematographer or director or whatever of the commercial, who they'd met. I think they did not talk to him, but they did meet him. Very funny conversation. He's watching, like, animal documentaries. There's a line about getting horse dick out of your hand to OJ. Again, I was having a bit of trouble remembering this conversation or understanding it. Again, his voice was really good. He's like, I have a lemon tart in the oven. Like, please make this fast. And she's like, I want you to get this impossible shot. I want you to record something impossible. And he's like, that's impossible. There's this really funny moment where OJ, like, motions for her to, like, mute so he can say something, and they argue, and the director, she never muted it, so the director can still hear them, and he's just kind of like, ugh. And he says, like, listen, the dream you're chasing of, like, you know, fame and, like, being at the top, or, like, having everyone watch you is a dream you never wake up from. And then he hangs up, and she's like, I don't like him. Which, understandable. He's a little abrasive. And I don't remember if it's the next day or if they just notice outside. Angel pulls up, and he says, holy shit, it's real. And they're like, what? And he's in his van, but no uniform. Really like his fit also. And he's like, holy shit, it's real. And they're like, what? And he's like, you haven't noticed? And they're like, what? He says, and he points, and he says, that cloud, like, hasn't moved. And they stare at it, and they're like, yeah, like, I think they check the cameras, like, that cloud has never moved. And he checks, like, you know, the footage, and OJ's like, yeah, you can see that cloud never fucking moves, and clouds obviously move. And he says, wow, I've probably been staring at that cloud for 6 months. Me too. And Emerald's like, cool, we got it. And they're like, not really. It's not really proof. It's just a weird fucking phenomenon. And OJ says, it ain't Oprah. And it's at this point that it is brought up that it is not a ship. OJ mentions it, but then it cuts to the next scene, and we see the backstory of Ricky and all the shit that happened with Gordy. Sitcom, and it says the title card, Gordy. I just realized each title card is showing, like, the exploitation of each of these animals and how it ended poorly for each of them. Cool. The cats are fighting. Why here? Why now? You guys hate me. And it's showing, like, the slip-ups. Ricky is really cute. He's the only one that slips up. It's Gordy. It's about this family that lives with a chimpanzee named Gordy. And it's Gordy's birthday. And there's this really stupid sitcom-y line that the dad says that I don't fucking remember because it was so stupid that I just did not give a shit. This scene is one of the 3 scenes that filled me with dread. Not as much as one of them, but this one was really horrific, and I felt nervous during it. I just felt disturbed. Again, not as much as this other scene I will talk about, but this is one of the 3. And the daughter, so it's like, there's 2 parents, they're 2 children. The daughter gives Gordy a box of balloons, and they're like, wow, and they release it, and one of the balloons pops, and all of a sudden the screen goes dark, and you hear people like they're being like, Gordy no, and the sound of it attacking, people screaming. All of a sudden it's showing it says 1998. It's backstage of a sitcom, and it shows this camera slowly creeping in, and then, like, looking in through the side of the set. I don't think it is an actual person, but and then it cuts back to the under the table POV of Ricky as a child. Gordy is, like, beating his fists on the corpse of the young woman, the daughter character. And I noticed, like, I wrote down every time a balloon pops, Gordy jumps on the couch. Again, this scene is very disturbing. Gordy hops on the couch, and I think she, like, groans or moves, and then Gordy, like, jumps down and, like, beats on her again and, like, bites at her face, and she screams and then goes quiet. You later learn that she did not die, but, you know, she probably just passed out. And then the father character comes down the, like, fake stairs. I think he was hiding up there. Tries to run and is like, Gordy, no, like, Gordy, please, like, bad monkey. Runs through the living room to the kitchen area, and Gordy catches up with him. Like, you briefly see, like, the swinging kitchen door. You see, like, because it swings a few times, the worst violence in this movie is not on screen. It is all implied. The couch blocks the view of him biting the girl. It is just, and beating the girl. It's just sound design. Same goes for what he does to the father character. He attacks him and beats him with his arms. Another balloon pop. It goes quiet, and I think the father character died. I don't know what happened to the mother character. You don't know the order of events, really. As Steven Yeun said, it was 6 minutes and 31 seconds of havoc, and it just went blank, and we just heard terrible noises. And it's that shot from the beginning. Steven Yeun's character is staring straight ahead at the shoe that is miraculously standing up. And I think it's, some people are like, oh, is it a sign? What is it? It is just a miracle, a bad miracle. Something, sometimes when something gets thrown or lands, it just lands upright. And I think since Steven Yeun's character was so young, he just attached to that visual, and he's staring at it the whole time to avoid looking at the horrific things happening around him. And then the shot from the beginning, like, Gordy takes off his hat, nudges the girl, and then sees Steven Yeun, and he goes towards him, and he's, like, sniffing at him, and then he backs up and makes noises, and you think, like, oh, fuck, he's gonna attack him. And another interpretation of the shoe is Jupe was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Ha ha ha. He was just waiting for it to fucking go wrong and for Gordy to attack. But I think there's like a whole thing about eye contact in this movie. The eye contact between Ricky and Gordy was blocked by the tablecloth, so I think Gordy relaxed. And he goes to fist bump him, which is something that their characters, Gordy's character and Ricky's character, do in the show. And right before there's a shot that I think's in the trailer of Gordy's, like, dripping, bleeding hand. And before they make contact, Gordy is shot in the head, and it splatters on Jupe's face. And then there's this whistling music, and it cuts to Ricky in modern sitting on his desk in this handsome red suit. Love it so much. Not suit. Handsome, like, red cowboy outfit. You've probably seen pictures of it. He looks phenomenal in it. It has a UFO in the back. He's just staring into space. Probably, like, this is probably what he does constantly. Just relive that in his head. And his wife just, like, puts on his hat, and I've seen people who are, like, actual cowboys be like, you don't do that. Like, you can't touch someone else's hat like that. And she's like, you good? And he's like, yeah. And gives him the hat back. He looks so cute. And she says, let's run it one more time. And he goes, what if I told you? And then it cuts, and there's a title card for Lucky. Angel's wrapping one of the camera on the roof in tarp. I'm taking a lot of pauses because we're getting to the scene that filled me with the most dread and gave me an actual nightmare. So, Angel's wrapping in tarp, and what's his name? OJ. What the hell? OJ's doing his, like, farm duties, and he, in, like, one of the piles of poop is the flyer that Jupe was trying to give them. And then he just starts walking away, and Angel's like, where the fuck are you going? And OJ says, I'm getting lucky. I don't remember what the poster said. Again, I don't think I could have read that fast, but it, says something about the Star Lasso experience, which, oh boy howdy, Star Lasso experience sure is something. So there's the stadium that you saw in the distance. There's, like, chairs, there's misters to, like, help keep people cool, which is something, if you lived in the South where it's super, super hot, there's misters to keep you cool. There is, icy Slurpees, and one of the flavors is cactus. And again, as someone from the South, if you've ever tried, prickly pear cactus jelly. Oh my god, it is really good. I don't know if that's the flavor that it's going for because it's green and just says cactus, but I thought that was really funny. He introduces his wife name. His wife is Amber. He names their children, but I didn't fucking catch it. He shouts out his staff, and Mary Joel Elliott is in the crowd, and she is in a motorized wheelchair and has a hat with a veil covering her face. And he says, my co-star and first crush. Obviously, she is the daughter character from Gordy's home that was mutilated by Gordy. You see, like, under her veil, sometimes you can see, like, hints of, it is reminiscent of that woman that was on national TV that did get, like, mutilated by a chimpanzee, and, like, she covers her face. I mean, they deserve privacy. It's sort of the thing of spectacle. I don't think Peele would go that far. They don't deserve to be spectacles to look at. Even if you are curious, like, too bad, it's their shit. The person playing the music is just a guy on an Apple laptop. Yeah. That tracks with, like, a small operation like this. And he says, like, what if I told you that, like, you're gonna meet aliens? And he says 6 months ago, he had a chestnut horse named Trigger that I think is one that, OJ sold him. And he says, flying saucer took, Trigger, and he got the aliens took it, and he says, like, I have an arrangement. Every day at 8 p.m., I give them, a horse, and they give us a show. I don't think it's every day. I think it's, like, once a week. I don't remember. But yeah, that's the reason why, he won't sell OJ his horses back, because he's been giving them to aliens. This whole thing is sort of the end of Ricky's arc, where he thinks he didn't learn from the incident with Gordy. So again, spoilers, the alien ship is not a ship, it's an alien itself, it's a creature. And, like, he thinks, like, oh, I survived, I was the special one that Gordy spared, he just doesn't learn. He's like, oh, I had this one experience, that means I can keep doing it, I could have special bonds with wild animals, which, no, you train this wild animal to come to the dinner bell, to horses, and just when one thing goes wrong, like the balloon popping, like, in this instance, the horse does not leave the enclosure when it's supposed to, everything goes wrong, because that is how wild animals are. Sorry, Ricky, sorry, Steven Yeun's character, I love you so much, but, yeah, he did do wrong. He did feed horses to people, but to an alien, but he doesn't know. Sorry, like, you're not special. You, like, it all goes wrong, obviously, because, again, that's a wild creature that is not trained. You don't have a special bond with it. You are just exploiting it for your show, and it's your fault what happens next. Lucky is in a glass box, and he calls them the viewers, which, wowza, yowza. Not too on the nose, but quite on the nose. It's, like, on your cheek. It's not on the nose. It's, like, almost there, but it's not. He has some alien merch, and I'm like, boy, howdy, I would love that merch, even though I know it's, like, part of the exploitation and, like, the whole thing of the spectacle. I would love that alien merch. Again, he says, they trust me. And then you see the streamer, from the decoy horse in the shot, and he's like, oh, they're early. You hear the terrible noise that the alien makes, which actually I figured out later after thinking, is it, like, expelling dust. So it, like, sucks things in, and then it makes a noise of it, like, trying to expel the dust and stuff. And he says, like, oh, hold on, folks, trained animals can be unpredictable, which, if only you knew. Power goes out, misters goes out, lights goes out. It's not night, it is still day. Lucky is not going, so it comes closer. Steve's hat flies off, and it's just the shot of him looking up horrified, and you can see in the background, I think I didn't spot it, but I saw people say it online, and it's really neat. You can see in the background people being lifted, like the shadows of people being lifted, and you hear people screaming, and it is the shot from the beginning of the tube inside the alien, and it's sorry, I just got really nervous. It's like of people going in, and they're going into this narrow, wet passage, and they're all screaming, and I was just writing, oh my god, it's alive, and it's eating them. If anyone has heard of the mystery flesh pit, think of that, of them getting stuck in, like, a sack of digestive juice, and I think I was, like, freaking the fuck out, so I'm not sure, I didn't really process it, that they see, a horse skeleton in there. And again, you don't see the people being digested, you just see that initial part, and it is said later that is 40 people, including, staff. And that is the end of Jupe. He was only in, like 5 scenes, but I cared about him so much. OJ is walking in Jupiter's Claim, and it's empty, and there's, like, shit everywhere. Like, the alien merch and the spilled Slurpees. And there's, like, the announcer of the fake little, like, the amusement park being like, it's closing time. Like, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, which I thought was hilarious. I don't know why you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Is an interesting thing to hear from a theme park. And it's just Steven Yeun's voice, like, looping, saying it. And he goes in the arena, and stuff's back on, the icy machine's going, the misters are going, and Lucky is still there, and it's flying away, the saucer's flying away, and the camera is following it, even though you can't see it, which is always, creepy, because it's like, I can't see it, but this omnipotent camera can, and I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I do enjoy it, but I don't. And he's, like, calling Lucky by his name, and, like, he's just standing there, like, me too, I think he was just spaced the fuck out. They did say earlier, like, the reason that Lucky is, like, no, he said Lucky's his second best horse, because he, like, lacks focus, and I think he just, Jupe just chose the wrong horse to use for that show, and it just, like, wouldn't go. And he would send, like, the horse out, and then the aliens would pick it up. But since it wouldn't go, it was like, you know what, I'm gonna grab you guys. And then all of a sudden, it fucking, like, comes and lands, like, on top of, like, everything. And OJ blacks out, and he wakes up, and it's night, and it's raining. And Lucky's just, like, walks over to him, like, oh, hey, what are you doing? Angel's, like, leaving, his truck is blasting music. Emerald's watching the tape I mentioned earlier of their father giving the speech. OJ calls Emerald and says it ate them all, it's alive. Something, I just remember the word home, like, being distorted like that, and freaked me the fuck out. Angel's car goes out, and like, the music he was blasting goes out, and I think he knows that it's a sign of the aliens, so he, like, runs inside the house, grabs a knife, runs up to Emerald, and is like, hey, we gotta hide, we gotta get out of here. Turns to, like run the opposite direction, slips, and, like, dives under the dining room table. What the fuck, Angel? And then, the alien is over them, and this is the other part that filled me with dread. It looks like torrential rain, but it's really because it's, like, blocking the rain, and it's, like, it's a disc blocking the rain, and you just hear the people inside of it screaming, and it's above us, and it's this terrible noise, and it starts spitting things out, like, the actress's wheelchair, keys and coins, and it's, like, stabbing into things, and there's this shot where Emerald, like, looks at a picture of what I assume to be their mother. I don't know what that means. I don't know what's happening there. But then, the alien starts spitting out the blood of all these people, and again, you just hear these horrific screams, and there's blood running down the house, and covering the windows and the porch, and, like, OJ's driving up, and his car goes out, and then it's, moving from over the house to over, you think it passes over OJ, but it's, like, hovering right above him, and he just, like, it seems like he doesn't give a shit, but obviously he does, and he, like, slowly, like, opens the door a little, and looks up and sees it, and he goes, nope, and just shuts the door and locks it, and is just shaking his head to himself, and there's a jump scare of it dropping the decoy, and it smashes through, like, the hood and the front window. It doesn't, like, destroy it, but, you know, it smashes through it, and it's covered in blood, and he's just like, I'm just gonna stay right here, and he falls asleep there. I'm looking ahead. I love this movie, but I've been talking for 1 hour and 51 minutes, and I'm gonna try and speed it up. I will try to talk about my interpretations pretty fast, but I'm hoping I've given enough breadcrumbs throughout. I am not an expert quite on this movie. Maybe I will do a follow-up episode where I piece together all my ideas, but this has been going on long enough that I'm just gonna try and blast through. He like locks the car, sleeps through it. In the morning he wakes up and he starts driving it, but it's like fucking dead, obviously. The woman's wheelchair is on their roof, and Angel's car starts blasting music, cueing us in that it's on. Angel and Emerald are arguing about whether or not to go out. Angel's like, we're alive because we stayed in the house, and Emerald's like, but we gotta go. We gotta fucking leave. OJ gets out of his truck and goes to Angel's truck and opens the door and does the thing where he starts smacking his leg, like calling for them like they're horses, and they run for it, and the music goes out. It's above them. Flashback to the horse, Lucky kicking someone at the commercial filming, and he realizes, don't look at it, like, it's fine if you don't look at it. Music's back on, car's back on, they get the fuck out of there. They drive to Angel's house, or apartment, and Emerald is, like, facing the wall with VR. They're smoking weed. Angel also has a VR headset, but he's sitting in a chair, and Emerald's just in the background, again, facing a wall, doing shit with her arms. Angel's in this awesome gamer chair. On the TV it says there was 40 people killed in the Star Lasso experience, which, oh my god. The director sees the news, and he hears, like, the location they mentioned, and he's like, oh shit, like, yeah, they were right. His name was Antlers, by the way. I didn't find that out until after the movie. But, in his footage, there is, a tiger being strangled by a boa. Maybe that's, like, pieces, like, to the puzzle that I just haven't connected yet. And they're, like, eating fried chicken, or fried fish sandwiches, having a good time, and then OJ just goes, it won't eat you if you don't look it in the eye. And Angel's like, dude, read the room, we're having a good time. And in the background, there's some sports team boys wrestling for some fucking reason. I don't think there's, like, a symbolic reason for it. I think it's just a background thing. And Angel's like, well, if you guys are crashing at my place, I'm assuming, I'm gonna go back. You guys can deal with the monster umbrella, which I found hilarious. OJ is, like, insisting on going back. He says there's always shit to do. Or he says, I got shit to do. And Emerald's like, there's always shit to do. They get back to the house. He finally lets Lucky out of the fucking trailer. House is still covered in blood, and the director's like, you got a wheelchair on your roof, by the way. And they're like, yeah, we know. And he's like, that cloud's not moving. Yeah, they know. They tell him what they know, that the fake horse decoy fucked up something with it. It doesn't like flags because they were attached to the fake horse, and that Jupe tried training it. And Angel says something like, as someone in the house, blah, 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 I don't remember, or someone who was in the house, and then fist bumps Emerald, which I was like, really funny. They basically, the director's like, well, why don't we just, like, ring the dinner bell, like, feed a horse to it? And Angel's like, these two are horse people. Like, no, they like their horses. They set out a map, and they use Monopoly pieces to plan out where each of them are, which turns out to be their code names with the walkie-talkies, which I thought was really cute. They're setting up, basically, they're gonna have the Wigglemen, that I don't know the name of, set up around the ranch, and depending on which ones are working and which ones are not, they can track where, using the car batteries of the people who died in the Star Lasso experience, by the way. They can tell where it is based on where the power is on and out. While Angel is stealing, like, something, he hears sirens in the distance and, like, immediately stops what he's doing and drops what he has, which is really funny. I've probably done the same thing. They say it has spirit, but spirit can be broken. And then, Antlers says something about, Mr. Purple People Eater, which I googled it. I still don't know what the hell it means. OJ wears a orange hoodie from the like crew for Scorpion King. And they named the alien Jean Jacket. I saw someone connect, like, where the people went wrong with, like, Gordy's home is they try to humanize Gordy, gave him a human name, but, like, he's not human, and, one thing, OJ is making sure that they don't humanize it. Obviously it's not human, it's not your friend, it can't be trained, and also, he's giving Emerald a second chance to train Jean Jacket. And I've seen people be like, oh, I love Jean Jacket. It did nothing wrong. It's an invasive species. It did do wrong. It's not supposed to be there. They're playing really loud music. Activates the floaty men. Emerald is in this green jersey with a yellow bandana, and she looks real cute. They're just kind of tracking its movements, when all of a sudden this guy pulls up at a electric motorcycle, with a helmet that, like, reflects everything. It's like the mirror orb. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the mirror orb is about. Probably something with spectacle. And he's like, your valley is blurred on Google Maps, and they're like, oh fuck, he's TMZ. Just really funny. And Angel's basically like, you don't want to go out there, man, like, it's fucking shitty out there, don't do it. And he goes anyways, and they're like, hey, that guy is on an electric bike, and he's about to run into, like, a field from the alien that shuts off electricity going, like, really fast, and, yeah, and he rams into it, and his bike shuts off, and he flies off, and makes this really funny noise, which shouldn't be funny, because it's kind of horrific, because this man just, like, you know, got really injured, and Angel's like, there's no way that man's alive, and then he starts screaming, and they're like, oh, fuck, and OJ, like, goes to get him, even though they're telling him not to, and the guy's just like, I need my camera, like, where's your phone, why aren't you filming this, take a picture, like, all men die, but, like, record it, and OJ's trying to help him, like, his arm's, like, all fucked, and he's trying to help him, but he's like, no, take a picture, and OJ's like, alright, fuck you, I'm out of here, gets unlucky and skedaddles, and Jean Jacket eats the fucking guy, and he's, you know, screaming overhead, and OJ, like, keeps his eyes on the ground, and you can just still hear, the man screaming. They said dancers. I think they're called some kind of dancers. I don't know. He had reflective lights on the back of his hoodie's head, and I don't know why. He's booking it on Lucky, and he throws flags behind him, and there's, like, really good Western music, and the flags makes, even though the, Jean Jacket was, like, right on top of him, it starts to, like, drift and, like, land, or I thought it was gonna fall, but it just, like, goes, like, zoop, and, like, goes back up, and up into, and the sky, and, OJ, like, jumps off of Lucky into the shack that saved him earlier. I didn't mention it, but the reason they needed the director is because, obviously, he's, like, a fucking director, and they want to get a good shot, and he's, like, known for, getting, like, impossible shots, but, oh, you could probably hear my cat screaming. It's because I haven't pet her in 2 hours. Also because he has a camera that he made himself that does not have any sort of electricity, and Emerald is so hyped by that, but she's like, let's go, and, like, high fives, OJ, which is in the trailer, I think, and they're like, oh, like, we did it, it's over, we got it, Angel's, like, celebrating, and then Antler's like, we don't, this was impossible, we don't deserve the impossible, and then he takes his camera and heads up the mountain, and he sees it, and he's recording it as it takes him, and he's, like, yelling at it, and then it's, like, a POV as, like, the camera, like, goes up, like, with him, and it's like, what, he died for, like, I guess he did it for the Vine, I don't know, man, we're getting to, like, the really deep parts, but I am very tired. I am definitely going to do a follow-up where I get more in depth with it. This is just kind of my summary and, like, my thoughts as we go along, I guess. Angel, like, runs, but he trips into a tarp and falls into barbed wire. There's, like, film reel and everything everywhere. It tries to get him, and it, like, yoinks him, but he's, like, connected to barbed wire fence, so it can't get him, so it just drops him, which I think is another quote-unquote bad miracle. Like, what are the chances he would fall on this tarp and then fall in barbed wire, which would, like, hurt him, like, cut him up pretty bad, but, like, save him. It tries to go after Emerald, it lifts her in the air, and then drops her, and it, like, destroys the surveillance room. Emerald's trying not to look at it, and it's, like, changing. It's going from this saucer to this weird, like, parachute thing. OJ tells her to go get the bike and get out, and she looked at it briefly, and it's being really weird. It looks so weird. It's making this really low hum, and it has this green box thing, which I think is, like, a threat display, because it's, like, blowing out air and, like, making, like, its tendrils, like, snap. It's really fucking hard to explain, and it looks really weird. She's not looking at it. Music's really good, and she goes, and the bike is out, and OJ has to, like, move back. His leg is injured from jumping off of Lucky. He makes Lucky, like, lay down so he can get on him, which, by the way, is very hard to get horses to do, because they are prey animals, and they don't like to be in positions like that. It takes, like, trust with the animal. OJ does the, like, I'm watching you thing again. I'm not quite fully entirely sure on the meaning. I will have to, like, ponder it and talk about it in my, like, analysis episode. That will probably not be, I was going to do, like, 4 more episodes, but this is turning out to be super, super long. She does it back to him this time, and OJ starts luring it away from her, so that she can get away. Once it's far enough, the bike turns back on and she can go. It starts following her, and it's, like, all sprawled out, and she goes to the Jupiter's Claim. She, like, shoots through the caution tape and has it just hanging off her, and there's this really cool shot that I didn't know was from an anime until afterwards, called Akira, where she, like, slides on her bike, and it's phenomenal. And it turns out that Jordan Peele is a weeb, so if you didn't know, now you know. She starts running around and detaching the giant inflatable man that has flags so it can fly up, sending the inflatable man up into the air, and she says, "This is gonna fuck you up." Again, Keke Palmer is a phenomenal actor. In times of distress like this, and one I'll mention in a minute, she does really, really, really good. Being stressed and freaked out, but still trying to be like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking get you. There's coins all over the ground from the alien, like, shooting it out, and she gets it, and she's using, so I think, Antlers, like, took their film with them when he died, so she's gonna get that shot no matter what. I don't think that this is, like, what she's, all about. She used to be all about fame, like, wanting to get her name out there, but at this point, you know, she just kind of wants it dead, but it is what they were working for. Like, this is what they wanted. She sends a man up, and it's Jupe, like, winking. The alien, like, beefs with it, because, like, it thinks that, like, it's like, hey, you're looking at me, stop looking at me, dude. Even though it has flags, it's like, I got major beef with you, you're pissing me off. And she's like, let's go to Oprah, and there's, like, suspense where she keeps taking pictures, and it's, like, not quite in shot yet, and then, finally, it, like, attacks it, and it's trying to eat it, and it pops inside it, and it blows the alien the fuck up, and it just starts drifting away, and she got the perfect shot, but she doesn't care. She's like, yeah, that's right, nobody fucks with A-Wood, but she's crying, and again, it's phenomenal. All the power comes back on. You hear Jupe's voice being like, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. All the news and people are showing up, but she, like, doesn't give a shit. She doesn't want that fame. She, like, closes her eyes and, I guess, like, wishes for her brother to be there. And she opens them, and he's there, like, he's come up unlucky. Apparently some people think he's fucking dead, and this is just her hallucination. No. I think people just are losing their media literacy. Movie over. She got the picture. It shows it printed out. Title card. Nope. There's this orangey screen over the credits and wonderful Western music. Yep. And that is nope. I am too tired to go into my analysis. I did not expect to talk about this for 2 hours. This is nearly the length of the movie. It is 2 hours and 11 minutes. People were talking about, like, with Logan Paul and other people who are, like, don't understand it or, like, really misinterpreting it, are people who probably didn't pass English class or slept through English class, and I kind of agree, because this movie feels complicated, but if you think about it for more than, like, a second, it is very clear, and that has been my summary and explanation and sort of thoughts throughout of Nope, from Jordan Peele. Again, phenomenal, fucking phenomenal. Angel lived, by the way. I was so worried he would die. He did not. he just kind of got sucked up and then dropped. And then it showed him, like, fine, just kind of being like, oh, that sucked. Yeah, not today, but another day. Probably these will be released back to back, who knows, but, I will do, my interpretation and just connecting the themes as best I can, but for now, this has gone on as long as the movie has. Again, I'm your host, Avery, local horror himbo. I thought the sky was pretty before, but, like, now that there's aliens up there, I'm kind of nervous. I don't know about you. I will see you next time. Ka-chow. Why'd I do that?